Let me guess, you've just lost a serious fight in the strongest battlegrounds. Furious at yourself, you question why you suck. At first, you blame the enemies for bringing in teamers, using sketchy, dirty tactics, and abusing glitches. But in honesty, you yourself know it was your lack of skills that caused it. I'm just like you. When I start playing the strongest battlegrounds, I used to blame others for losing myself. The truth was, the weak always loses. I always lost. That was the nature of the game. I tried to search online for reasons how I could improve faster, how I should practice or do something better. Now looking back, I wish I knew these 5 tips because back then there was nobody who could have told me this. But for you, I'm here and today I'm going to give it my all for you because I truly care for each and every one of my fans. That brings us to our desired question. As a starter or even an experienced player, how could one improve fast? You have seen countless videos where YouTubers have gone and told you should do this and that. Be honest with me, how many of them were actually helpful? Like you, I was just a weak starter. I used to follow each and every advice by these YouTubers, but my growth was slow. I kept on losing, on and on, clinging to the hope that I'll find that one video that will help me actually grow as a player, instead of pushing theory right onto me. And that's it. I found the ideal style of improving as fast as possible. Instead of facing the problem head on, I have to find solutions. I realized it the hard way, wasting time on learning cool combos that I never used, tactics that worked half of the times, and countless other things. Then it clicked for me. The strongest battlegrounds could be divided into 4 fundamental aspects: dashing, the key of attacks, blocking for defense, combos to deal damage, and lastly movement that helps us perform all of these. Since that day, I have left that part of me that depended on others for improving and others for advice. As a starter or even an experienced player, it's crucial for you to master the basic fundamentals of a game. I really can't describe how important and helpful it is to improve just even 1% every day. Some of you are blinded by these cool skills and moves, stopping you from thinking to yourself. You cannot do one-shot combos without improving your combo skills. You cannot perform a hook dash without learning basic side dashes. You cannot ghost block without understanding the mentality of players. And finally, you can't move like a pro player without knowing the basics of strafing. As a starter or even experienced player, I would recommend you to learn at least one thing for dashing, blocking, combos and movements each day and master it that day. It is a lot more helpful to do it daily for 1 week, even for just 1 hour, than training hard for 1 day. Even if you train 10 hours that day, consistency and muscle memory would then develop. So I would recommend you as a starter to improve each of these things daily. Maybe learn to side dash behind your enemy once. Realize that it requires you to move in a circle-like pattern. Another day, maybe learn how to M1 catch, understanding the tactics required to track the enemy and predict dashes. You can find everything you ever need in my channel. Instead of giving blind theories, you can take my examples and do it for yourself. I've covered all of the fundamental aspects of the game and it's just one click away from your hand. After these tips, I would recommend you to head over to my channel and learn the technique and tactics I used to grow as a player. As starting out, I made one of my biggest mistakes that had held me down for the first month of playing, literally stopping me from leveling up. As you may know, there are different characters in the strongest battlegrounds, each significantly different from each other, and they all work as an advantage or disadvantage against each other. Like a Genos user can overpower other characters but would be easily countered by characters like Garo or Atomic because of their counter move. When I joined, I was seriously teamed up by a group of trash talkers. Like, they're still the biggest dipshit of players I've ever seen in my life. 2 of them were Sonic users and 1 was a Metal Bat. Even if I managed to block their attacks, the Metal Bat would come behind my blind spot and kill me. Yeah, I didn't have much of a bright time playing for the first time, did I? I felt I was being lied to. All these YouTubers telling me to use Garo or Saitama, whereas Sonic was superior to both of them for its extra range and attacks. So I made the decision to become a Sonic main. I used to be like those trash losers, just not trash talking others and scattering random players. Try to understand me, alright? I was only human after all. It felt better winning in the short sight of things instead of a long-term goal. I had seen no progress that month, my skills were stagnant and no growth was seen. I remained the same starter, only just a bit better at using Sonic and being trash with every other character, neglecting my overall skill. That month, Atomic Samurai released free to the community. I tried it for the first time and my god, it felt so much more fun to use than scatter, run away, come back, scatter plus fast strike, run away, come back, tactic. Like I actually had to try using Atomic Samurai. Unlike Garo and Saitama who had easy combos, Atomic Samurai had harder combos and the M1s were slower. I had to constantly adapt and improve my speed using it, unlike Sonic. I realized that using a skillless character like Sonic only made me worse, whereas using an unpredictable character like Atomic Samurai, which I had only used for a week, had made me twice as good. That's why I still recommend people to use harder characters like Atomic, Metal Bat, and Garo. I would still argue that Atomic Samurai is the best character for its inescapable true combo, but it is based on personal preferences. So if you're going to take any advice, use other characters for fun, but when you want to improve constantly, use Garo or Atomic Samurai. Atomic Samurai requires a lot more thinking and quick planning skills than Saitama, and Garo is similar to that, so starting out with them is the best. Even after realizing such details myself, there was still something. I had a fear of fighting the strongest players. Them with their cold combos and insane dashes always seemed to spook me. Starting out, what could I potentially lose in a high stake 1v1 fighting a random player? I should rather spend my time efficiently hunting for the strongest among them all. Back then, I was some egotistical bastard, I'll be honest with you. I would lose 10-0, then after getting that one kill, my enemy would blame it on luck, and that I won because I was lucky after all. I would utter some hard ass line like pathetic. Be a man and admit you lost. I would say shit like that even though I lost 10-1. We ignore that fact. Slowly I got more egotistical as I crushed players better than me, each time reaching their skill level in the fight, rebuilding after every fight and adapting to always become a newer version of myself. So as an experienced player myself, I want you to target the strongest in any server you join. You will never be able to break your limits and challenge yourself without fighting the best of the best. Unless you're fine being on the underdogged background characters that just roam around dating on Roblox or role playing. Do what your heart's content, would you? Now these might sound basic tips of improving, but I've kept the best ones for last to accelerate your growth. There was a secret technique I used that helped me reach the same level as my enemies. As you may know, I only targeted the best of the best, setting high goals for myself and improving. I think it's best explained in a story. It was a normal day. I joined a random server and saw someone with 20,000 kills. He used Garo and played extremely aggressively, constantly jumping to make his movements seem unpredictable, as well as making my dashes less accurate. In the start, I lost to him a few times. He told me to get lost and that I was a waste of his time. Reading that in the chat, I stood still, completely stopped moving. Instead of trash talking back or being some humbled man uttering some phrases like "be kind to your enemies," I started thinking to myself, what did he do better and beat me in that fight? I went through my recent memories and saw myself missing my dashes due to his constant jumps, and he used a hook style dashing to catch me. With that and my past experiences with such treatment, I adapted to his style into my gameplay and started doing his tactics but better. He would only hook dash to the left, I realized that, so I hook dash from both sides. Even if my right side was weaker, I tried my best to improve on it. He would constantly jump, sometimes making his jumps shorter, so I would time to time get out of his side dash range and stop jumping, restart that timer. I had adapted his strongest skills to myself and evolved as a player. Similarly, when you fight the players, copy what they do and adapt to your own unique style. Being a static NPC, fighting pros and searching online for tutorials won't be enough for you to improve as fast as possible. You must instead try to learn from them. Use them as a tool to your growth. As a starter, I used to neglect learning from my mistakes, considering it cringe. But now looking back, if I had done it earlier instead of just recently in the past 2 months, I would have probably reached the scale of top players by now. Don't be a mindless loser that after losing just goes back to attack them. Stand there in your respawn area. Think why you lost and what you could have learned from it. That's the only way you can adapt and rebuild after every fight. Now, the last 4 steps would make you indeed improve in the game faster, but what's the point? Will you be satisfied by killing pixels on screen? Well, probably not. The most important part of the game is to have fun. Equally treat getting good with fun. Because at the end of the day, gaming is supposed to be fun, and unlike the clan kids who take this game religiously serious, like bro, they play 7 hours per day just so they can get better. Anyways, I've grown to nowadays take a chill and play for fun, like time to time using metal bat with backdash cancel, using disadvantageous characters, and overall not trying as much because winning wouldn't matter if I didn't have fun at all. The old me focused way too much on winning, and I wish I could go back and tell him that by playing the game for fun, you'll also improve. Just follow the system instead of your goals of getting killed. Alright guys, if you want more great and useful videos and improve faster in the game, then please consider subscribing. It's free and you can always change your mind later. Leave a like if you want more videos like this, and also check out my Discord server in the description where you might get a chance to speak to me in person.